Look at this. And
you look kind of little over there today.
I don't like it. I don't like being little. I don't want to be the little.
Well, hey, we're live, buddy. We're
Okay.
live. We got to do this thing. I gotta, we're gonna do the after show as usual, debrief and everything. Which I've only said this once, but we have for about the last 2 months, have contributed an after show, our debrief. It's only available on YouTube, so if you're a subscriber, you'll see it. But that's the only way you're going to see it. And we just kind of continue talking about the subjects that we were talking, but it's just our phone call again. It's just us BSing. So if you have any interest in that, I guess you'd have to sign up to YouTube to really see it. At Over 50 Starting Over. By the way, welcome to Over 50 Starting Over. I'm Barry Edwards.
And I'm Merle Garrison.
The chair challenge person over there is Merle.
No, it miraculously stopped doing it as soon as I got one of those chairs where it
didn't know the camera came on. I knew the camera came on.
the hydraulics part.
I have had some kind of infuriating experiences going to the gym in the mornings. Just been on my mind, such as this morning. And that is, I'm going there at 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's dead out. I'm taking the side streets of the Heights. So there's no reason for this. Either a Prius or a Chevy Volt, same damn thing, basically same clientele, same target audience,
right,
pulls out in front of me and starts going really slow down the road, stops at the stop sign for that extra few seconds, unnecessary few, because they want to make sure that I stop. They think of themselves as vigilantes on the road. Oh, well, this guy's going too fast on this side street.
One of those road sheriffs.
Oh, yeah. Batman in his Prius. Yeah. Oh, man. Prius. So I always, because it's a maze, Cleveland Heights is a maze, I just cut down a side street, cut them off. It always does me a lot of good. I get to where I'm going. Now, by the way, before anybody's thinking, oh, this maniac here on the road, of course, I drive a Prius and I do that to keep the road safer with you maniacs. I get a ticket like once every 7 years, literally. I do not, I rarely speed. I don't drive crazy. I'm very moderate in that regard. So there's that. I'm just talking. It's infuriating. When I see a Prius, I know what they're thinking. They're keeping the roads safe for everybody. They're they think they're a vigilante.
Well, thank God for those Prius drivers. I mean, we need them out there.
Yeah, if you say so. Hey, by the way, did I tell you that I'm kind of jacked up today because I think I had the best workout I've had in years today. And it's been leading up. They've been getting better and better. Did I tell you that in October I discovered creatine?
No.
Oh, okay. This is really important. And I've heard of creatine. Like, I've always worked out lifted weights my entire adult life, but I've never been let's do protein powders and creatine and supplement. I've never been into that. I just work out that's my exercise that I enjoy. And, but that I've had this problem with my shoulder, arthritis.
Yeah. We've talked about that on the show.
Yeah, it's been a huge problem, a growing problem. And it started with separating my shoulder in high school, wrestling, and it got exacerbated playing volleyball 12 years ago. I had to quit playing volleyball about 12 years ago because of my shoulder. I've been to physical therapy a year and a half ago. About my doctor x-rayed it. And he's like, yeah, it's mild arthritis.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
So additionally, I've had the problem with, I just attribute to getting older. I just turned 55, but the last couple of years, I noticed that my muscles would get very strained, sore, hard to recover from a workout kind of stuff. So that on top of my shoulder, my workouts were suffering bad. Like they weren't bad enough. And then I discovered I don't remember how I discovered creatine. I was looking for stuff to help my muscles recover. Yeah. I've tried fruit juices and different things like that. And sure enough.
Antioxidants for the fruit juice.
Yeah. Right. I've tried all this stuff. That green looking veggie goop that you drink. So nothing.
Some of that's kind of tasty, actually.
It truly is. It truly is. So I discovered creatine in October. I ordered some, said, 5 grams a day for 2 weeks. It'll take about 2 weeks to start working on you. And it was true. And I was doing it mostly for the muscle recovery thing. And it does say that for lean muscles. It's not a muscle builder type thing. It just helps your muscles just recover. It gives them the nutrients, oxygen, whatever. And what I didn't expect, this has only been since October. What is that, 4 months?
Yeah.
Within about a month, my shoulder started getting a lot better. Within 2 months, like January, I meant to say it. I guess I never thought to say it. I was going to tell you, man, my shoulder is like better than it's been in at least 5 years.
Really?
Today, this morning, I would tell you, my shoulder's better than it's been prior to that 12 years prior to playing volleyball. I had just a breakthrough workout. It was chest day today, which means a little bit of, I don't do anything hard, real heavy, but doing any kind of chest stuff is like flies or benching a little bit, but I do it controlled with machines. That would be like the most hurtful thing I could do with my shoulder. And man, I am back to where I was 10 years ago plus.
Is that right? And now creatine, what exactly is creatine?
And I talked to my doctor about this about 2 weeks ago when we had our follow-up phone call, just a regular scheduled thing. So I want to preface that. Because I asked them if there was any ill effects to long-term usage, anything like that.
Yeah,
well, creatine,
I'm smart.
I forget what it's really made of. I really do. I would tend to want to say crushed up seashells or something like that. I don't remember. I'm sure that's wrong. I can look it up real quick, but we got a lot to talk about. I just was excited. I wanted to blurt this out.
Yeah. Well,
it might help some
people. Could help somebody. Exactly. It's funny, as we get to this age, we've heard all our lives from people that are our age, and when you get to be my age, everything's going to be painful and slow and
go to bed just fine and wake up with an injury. Yeah. I've done that.
That's ridiculous. I've done it too. Like I wake up and my neck, and then later I'm like walking around like this.
Me too.
I can't move my neck now.
Yeah, my knee. I've had to have it in my knee. I went to bed fine. Now I can't make it down the stairs. What happened?
Or you're on your way down the stairs and suddenly it's like, I think I've injured myself walking down the stairs, or you drop some change and you bend over and now you can't get back.
Right. Hey, so I just want to put a cap on that by saying I talked to my doctor about it. It's recommended you take 5 grams a day, which, I was taking the capsules originally, but then I was running out of those and I can't find them right now. There's, for whatever reason, a shortage of creatine. And I went to Walmart and got pure creatine, a jug of this, 80 scoops, 5 grams per scoop. So there's 80 servings, 80 days worth.
Yeah.
I mix it with grapefruit juice and it tastes really good. It's delicious to tell you the truth.
Wow.
A small glass of grapefruit juice. Yeah. And for $10 at Walmart. Now, if it had any additives, any whatsoever, I wouldn't get it at Walmart because I don't trust Walmart. Because if you give them any leeway, they'll make a manufacturer put crap in it to put the price down. And I'm serious. So there's nothing but creatine monosaturated or whatever. There's an M word after it. It's the good stuff for $10. And so I asked my doctor about it. If there's any worries, concerns about taking that long-term, should I only do this for a short period of time? And he's like, no, none whatsoever. He goes, any all natural supplement like that, if you have no pre-existing conditions like liver something, kidney something, you're fine. He goes, you are fine with that. So, hey, I'm just telling you guys, if that helps anyone out, if it helps someone out, if it doesn't, I'm also a believer. I take a lot of supplements, but I believe that you can do too much of a good thing. So if you're not really using it, I don't know if you should take it. I don't know. Talk to your doctor about it. That's what
that's probably the best advice, to talk to your doctor about it.
Okay, moving along, because we got a lot to, thank you. We got a lot to talk about, and I wanted to turn it over to you because you were getting pretty excited about, you just tell us.
Well, we've been talking about the Chris Voss book, Never Split the Difference, and over the last couple of weeks, we talked about a couple of the tactics that Chris Voss uses. Remember, it's Chris Voss is the 25-year veteran of the FBI, being their top international hostage negotiator. So this guy's been doing some pretty big
the name of this book?
Negotiating with Never Split the Difference.
Yes.
And it's a great book. We've learned a lot, but I think the most important thing that I'm learning about it is how to open up conversations between people that are meaningful conversations that get to the heart, the core of really building rapport between two people. And I found this, I've been working on some of these things, and I tried it out this week on a person that I work with that's a new person on the team. And I wanted to get to know him. And I thought, well, let me try out some of these things that I've learned, not as a way to manipulate. I don't know. Yeah, change it so that I was being disingenuous. It was truly, I wanted to know this person. I cared about this person coming in and everything, and I thought this would be a great way to open up the conversation to get to know him. So if you'll recall, these tactics that we learned, one of them is mirroring and the other one is labeling. And so mirroring is simply repeating the last 3 or 4 words that person said in order to spur them on to elaborate on whatever it is they said. Go ahead, Barry.
Want to do a quick example of that, such as you ask me the passion and I'll give you feedback, and then you do mirroring.
Yeah. Okay. So, Barry, why don't we talk about what's your passion in life? Why don't you tell me what your passion is?
I'm a basketball coach, and it's just the most important thing in the world to me.
Okay. Hold on a second. That's your passion?
I'm using their example. I'm using their example.
This is so new to me
because it's easy. You know it. I know it. We're not going to screw it up.
Okay. So what is your passion? Why is that your passion?
Because I get to help people in the community, kids in the community that really may not have a father figure, and I get to be an example for them.
You get to be an example for them?
As I said, a lot of these kids don't have a father figure, and so it keeps them off the streets.
Oh, it keeps them off the streets.
I'm going to tell you, we don't live in the best of neighborhoods, and there's a lot of bad influences out there. So this is a chance for them to do something more productive. So there we go. Let's just move on. But you see how you just repeat the last few words, and it continues the conversation. You probe. You're probing.
It allows it's an easy way to allow people to it gives them the green light to just go ahead and elaborate and tell me more about what it is that they just said. And people love that. They want to tell you more, and that just kind of opens up the floodgates. But
back to your example, because they worked tremendously.
Well, I coupled that with labeling, and labeling is where somebody is talking and you after they make their comments, you notice sort of the underlying feeling that they're having over what they're talking about. So as Barry was talking about basketball, I might say something like, Barry, it seems like you're a person that really cares about the community.
Oh, I definitely care about the community. We have a very challenging community, and I think we could do a bit better if we do our part.
It feels like you see things that are out there that are wrong, and you're just jumping right into the fray and helping out.
I think that if you have the wherewithal, if you have the means, I think the leaders we can appoint, if you have some leadership skills, that you can put yourself in a position where you can help these young kids here and make a difference in this community.
It seems like this community has been really riddled with a lot of problems that might be part of the area that you're living in.
Yeah, I think the problems have grown tremendously in recent years, and I think it has a lot to do with single-family households, and these kids need role models.
Role models.
So that's enough of those examples. Let's get back, because you had an exciting.
So I wanted to meet this person, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this because I'd seen some exercises like this on video. And by the way, if you get a chance to check this out, it's really eye-opening because what you learn about people through this, you'll never learn through the normal ways that I would normally question people or talk to people. So I met this person and his name is Tony. And I decided I'm only going to ask those two questions and I won't ask any other questions. Anything else that I say is either going to be mirroring or labeling. I talked to him for a half hour. I only asked him those two questions. He went on for half an hour. I found out all about him. I found out about his passions, his dreams, his aspirations, all about his family, where his family came from, how his father and mother had influenced him, his whole background in his career and why he changed his career, what motivates him, why he's motivated by them, and spiritual aspect about him. I felt like as I was continuing this conversation, I wasn't even saying anything about myself, but as he was talking, the more and more he talked, the more I liked this person and the more I understood him. And we got to a point where I was using some of the things that Chris Voss says, where I rephrased some of the things that he was saying. And he said, Merle, that is so well said. And I can see that you're a great salesperson because you listen. And he said, that's right. And, I remember that point when he said, that's right. I remember that seemed like a breakthrough in our rapport, where in a half hour time, really, that was at about 13 minutes. In that period of time, I felt like we had established a permanent rapport forever. I feel like I could just call that guy up. In fact, afterwards, I told him, I feel like now I can just call you up and it's not, hello, Tony. It's, hey, man, what's going on? Right. And this is an amazing thing to be able to establish relationships. And we talked about this, especially during this time. It's great in your career. That's great. But we have to communicate on this level with everybody, our families, our neighbors, our people that we disagree with, people we agree with. This is a great way to drop down those walls and communicate with people.
Oh boy, that you can't state that with enough. You can't punctuate that enough. Obviously, today's day and age, we've talked about it repeatedly, but people are not listening to each other. And this is a terrific tool. Everybody wants to be heard everybody wants to be heard and understood more than anything else on the planet. So this is really, really important. And what you said, I want to just say what you said about that's right. We talked about that. I think it was last week.
Yes, we did.
And the importance of that is you're getting a signed stamp of approval that, oh, you're in my inner circle now. You understand me. It's really important.
It was interesting, Barry, because in the book, it delineates between yes or you're right and that's right. And if you get a you're right or even a yes, you're not really in the same boat with that person until they say, that's right. That when you say that's right, when someone, it's almost like, amen.
Yes.
I mean, you're in the same place. You're on the same side of the desk. And now that's where, boy, that's like a sign that your rapport is sealed.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to segue into a lot of stuff. Like I said, there's a lot going on. So I don't know if you want to tie up this part. There's a few other things I want to say.
No, this is good. I just say, read the book, Never Split the Difference. It's going to help you with everything. I'm in sales. It helps me with that, being able to get people to talk about themselves and understand the real motivations. There's some other really cool stuff too, like negative labeling and how that works. We could talk about that later, but get the book. It's good stuff.
It is. And you can also, of course, go to the YouTube videos and last week I shared a link to the mirroring and labeling seminar that they did. It was only 11 minutes, but you get all these examples of how it works and why it works. And so that's fantastic. So you can look at last week's notes and get that link if you want, but look up Chris Voss on YouTube and you'll see it's Black Swan, right? Is the name of his company.
Black Swan. Yep.
Yeah. Catch a few of those. It's a great intro to get your feet wet and see if you want to go further with the book. I think the audio book is tremendous. I really do.
I do too.
I wanted to back up. I got on this whole diatribe about Priuses and stuff, and I forgot to mention a couple things. First of all, a couple sad things, man. You know that Screech died.
I know. Gosh, can you believe that? It's funny because the day before that happened, I saw a commercial for that show he was on. And I was like, well, I haven't seen that show in a long
I
time. And
never saw it. I never saw
oh,
it back in
really?
there. I knew of it. Yeah.
You know, the guy Mario that was in the show.
Peoples?
No. He's a Hispanic guy. He looks exactly the same as he did. He does like Entertainment Tonight. He's a good-looking guy. He was like the muscle guy in the show back in the 90s. He looks exactly the same. It's amazing how some people stay the same. But Screech, the guy that played Screech, you know, he looked like an older man. You know, I mean, we're older. Sure. Some people somehow have a fountain of youth, though. But yeah, it was tough to hear that. I mean, he's only 45 years old.
It was really sudden. And how about this was not sudden or too unexpected, but still icon, Larry King. And it might have been over a week ago now, but Larry King
I think it was, but that's, it's a big deal. We kind of grew up with the voice of Larry King.
Mm-hmm. And boy, he had 8 wives. I didn't know that. 8. Did he have any money left at all to leave his last one?
No wonder his shoulders were all sunken in.
It was just, life was literally
wow, 8.
And then here's one I'm sure you don't know. And this, I think it was yesterday, Merle. Les Levine, Cleveland sports talk radio.
Les Levine, really? He passed away. Boy,
I think it was yesterday.
I really liked that guy.
Legend.
My friend Mike Andersack worked in the studio with him. He was a call screener for Les Levine.
No kidding.
And he was really good.
I heard yesterday on the way to the gym, I turned on the sports talk radio. Bud Shaw, do you remember him?
I remember the name. He's a sports writer?
Yes, and been around about the same amount of time. I never really cared for his writing much, but boy, did he have a lot of nice things to say about Les. I always thought Les seemed a little, almost a little angry, but I never really watched him much, to be honest, or listened to him. But boy, Bud Shaw was just talking about his incredible sense of humor that always came out, and he said how he always found the positive in everything, even with every caller. They'd get regular negative callers, and how he would spin these things into a positive. I didn't know that. But just a real fixture. And another one just went into hospice, Marty Schottenheimer.
Oh, that's too bad.
It is. So those are just a few of the things I wanted to make note of in the beginning, the intro. So just, these are fixtures in our lives that
it's amazing, right? When you think about it,
we get to our age and you start having 4 of these per show. Ouch.
You know, I was watching a movie this past week. It was The Last Samurai, and that's it's got Tom Cruise in it. It's from 2004. Yeah, and I'm watching this movie. It was actually a really good movie. Yeah. I mean, I liked it, and I'd never seen it before. But it was like, God, that's almost 20 years ago now that was. And you look at Tom Cruise's career, and he's another guy that somehow doesn't seem to be aging.
Well, yeah, he's had his work done though.
Well, they all have here. This is the capital
he's got
out
the
here
filler
in
phase.
Hollywood. Oh, he does.
Oh yeah, he's definitely has the fillers in his face.
Let me ask you now: Would you consider plastic surgery as we're getting older?
Oh, I don't know. Something, I'm noticing my neck. See my neck?
It's the neck thing. Yes.
I would like to get that a little tightened up, but I don't think I would.
You don't think you would?
Nah, what do you think?
I think I remember when it was the owner of Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
With the hair.
Remember when he first had that
owner?
The
I
plastic
get him
surgery.
And Jimmy. What did he say? I don't know.
No, it was he had all that plastic surgery. Well, maybe it was like
that.
15 years ago, and he looked completely different.
I didn't know that.
Sort of a weird kind of way, you know.
Sure.
It wasn't good, and I would, these things are permanent.
Yeah.
Like you can't just reverse it. And I living out here in Hollywood, I've seen some people that were absolutely beautiful before they got the surgery. And then they got this surgery and they kind of look a little freaky.
Well, in Hollywood,
I don't want that to happen to me.
I think 90% of these people get them very well done and little bit at a time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's the 10% that go the cheaper route, like Burt Reynolds. Remember what he just
remember that?
Had
He's
his
such a good-looking guy.
Pulled back and
that's what Jerry Jones did too.
It looks like they took the back of his head and wadded it up into a knot,
put a big rubber band
tie on it. Right.
I don't want that to happen to me.
Meg Ryan, who was the cutest thing in the world.
So pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Look what she did. And I've seen some recent ones too, where it was I'm trying to think of who it was. In fact, I'm seeing her face in my mind's eye right now.
Well, the Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing, she caught a lot of flack. You remember her because she was so cute with her Jewish nose and everything. Well, she had the nose job done, and everybody's like, "What did you do that for? That was like your defining." Yeah.
That's too bad. Well, and it's just we have you ever noticed that people that just they love themselves on the inside, that no matter what they look like on the outside, that's what makes them beautiful?
Oh, for sure. You know what? I said this to Lisa not too long ago. Like, I never got the whole Jennifer Aniston thing. Everybody, oh my God, most beautiful girl in the world. Well, I think I mentioned this before a few months ago, but I'd never watched Friends back in the day. I started watching it just a few years ago when it got on Netflix.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, now I get the Jennifer Aniston thing. You got to actually get to know her.
It's the personality.
And it makes her, it's like she's got this aura of beauty. She really does.
She really does. And I feel the same way. I probably would not have looked twice at her, but it's the persona that she's developed on television that's attractive.
And it's once you see it, you can't unsee it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how heavy you are, like if you've gained weight or whatever, if you just love yourself, you exude attractiveness. Now,
there is the subtle stuff that works like every time. And man, I hate throwing out all these names because it sounds almost slanderous, but there are some people. You mentioned a girl, maybe you didn't, I forget, but there are a lot of actresses who have gotten that slight nose job that all of a sudden that sent them over the top. They are just, oh my God, beautiful now. And a couple of our biggest icons come to mind right now, and I just don't want to name their names because I don't think it's...
Wait, if they're beautiful, it's a good thing, right?
Well, okay, then I will. Because you can find their before and after pictures online. But Sandra Bullock, who I also think also
really good looking,
shines from the inside out as well.
Yes.
But her nose job, boy, she's got that perfect nose now, which she didn't used to have.
I never even noticed that.
You look at, and the other, this is almost a no-brainer, Jennifer Lopez.
She had a nose job?
Yeah, back when like her breakout was Selena, way back in the day. That was pre-nose job. Beautiful girl still. Yeah. With that nose job, just most beautiful woman on the planet in some respects, you know.
Wow. I never even knew any of this.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so it's kind of minor, but you just, shrink that up just a little bit, make it a little more narrow, and all of a sudden it's elegant and, drop dead gorgeous. And that's all it takes. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, let's move along. I didn't know we were going to be talking about plastic surgery today.
Well,
we got a lot.
You never know. I'll be looking at your neck every episode now.
Well, you know when you got to is when I go through a week of turtlenecks or a couple of weeks of turtlenecks. Then it's like, hey, what's up?
Oh, you're breaking up the turtleneck. Oh, yeah.
Right. All right. So I teased you with a text about this earlier this week because this has been. Yes. Oh,
I saw. Yeah, go ahead.
We are a giant step closer to getting the chip in our brains.
Look at you. You fogged up your whole camera now. You're so excited.
How did that happen?
I don't know, but it's just funny.
That is.
Yeah, it's like this guy's jazzed about this.
I yelled into the camera. I don't know if it's going to come back. But hey, anyways, so Elon Musk's Neuralink, that's one of his companies. Neuralink implanted a chip into a monkey's brain, and now he can play video games with his mind. Okay,
That's great.
This is in Yahoo Business, February 1st, a couple days ago. All right, Neuralink's focused on the human-computer interfaces for artificial intelligence in people. This is what I've been talking about forever.
You have. Yep, you have.
I'm trying to get that thing though on fog, but it
doesn't want to.
No, pretty weird. But he's a quote here. One of the things we're trying to figure out is if we can have monkeys play Pong with each other via their neural links. Big step. But, he said, and he had a Twitter feed when he was talking about this, he said, short term, we're looking to solve the brain and spine injuries thing.
Right.
Oh, hey, my thing cleared up.
Yeah.
But long term, it's human AI symbiosis. And that's coming so quickly. So obviously, number one is paraplegics and things like that. And we talked about a story last week about a case where there's a artificial limb, a robotic limb in California.
Oh, yeah.
And we're operating it here remotely at Case. And the guy can feel what is being put in the robot's hand. Okay, so we're really getting close. So now all you need is the chip in your head, which he says human trials will probably start this year. Human trials will probably start this year as long as things continue to go well. So we're working super hard to ensure the implant safety and close communication with the FDA. Well, of course. I mean, of course, you have to be in close communication with the FDA by law.
You can't do that without that.
So that's where that is at. So here is where this relates to everything else that we've been talking about, can talk about for the rest of the show. But as we're talking, the misinformation that's going on, the lies. Did you hear Biden say something yesterday about
you're transitioning already?
Dude, I'm coming right back to it.
Oh, okay.
About the need for ending white supremacy. This is how far
I've been hearing him saying these types of things ever since he got in there. Yeah.
How the hell did we get that far already? We started out with Obama dusting up the whole racism thing 10 years ago, which led into the proliferation of ID politics. But it's gotten to and we've gotten to the whole we went from white privilege to white supremacy by the president is saying this now.
Yes.
I am so dismayed. So back to what I was talking about. I think this is not a jump to think about at all. But when we talk about these chips being put in our head and the AI is getting us to be able to interface with artificial limbs, and I think one of the first things that's going to be able, easily be able to, we have lie detectors. We've had lie detectors for decades now. When we have a chip, we have techniques, the CIA, all of our special agents stuff, they have techniques for detecting lies that they are trained in. They can detect a liar, from anybody a mile away.
Right.
You combine all this stuff into a Neuralink that is a BS detector. Every human being needs this so badly. This may
BS
be
detector.
Yes, this may be the only thing that saves us from ourselves. Look where we're at today. I'm not laughing, dude.
You've really
laughing.
thought through this.
It's all coming together.
I compliment you.
It's all coming
on thinking through this whole thing and really finding a positive there. I mean, that's a
huge positive. And I'm being dead serious.
I know you are. I know you're being serious, yes. And I'm not being facetious here. I can see that you've thought through this, and I know you're excited about this as well. And I when you sent that over to me, I was like, well, that's so crazy sounding. What are you talking about? So I just so happened to have read an article about this last night.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk. And I got to say, when I first learned that it was Elon Musk, it was almost a relief. Yeah, because I have a lot of respect for this person. I don't know if I would trust them because I don't know him, but I respect the technology that he's brought to the table and the way that he thinks through our free market society that we live in here. I do admire that. And when I started to read about this last night, the thing that really jumped out for me, and this is really what he's doing this initially for, is for spinal injuries, for Alzheimer's, There was another one in there as well, but dementia.
Mm-hmm.
So Alzheimer's, dementia, and spinal cord injuries. And I do believe that there's technology there that can help to repair those things almost at a miraculous pace. We went to Kent State, Barry and I did, and I had a person that was in my major. Her name was Allison, and she was a paraplegic, and one of the sweetest people ever. And one day, many years after college, I was watching a documentary about the science of the cerebral science of these people that are paraplegics. And later in that episode, I saw Allison in that documentary walking. Allison was somebody that I remember. I saw her at Ray's one night, and it was so cool because remember how crowded it would be in there, and she's in there in her wheelchair. Can you?
By the way, that's a legendary bar at Ray's. Oh, at Kent.
Yes. Yeah, and remember how crowded it would get in there.
Always.
And I remember she said, "I have to go to the bathroom. Can you carry me in there?" I was like, yeah.
Excuse me, ladies. Yeah.
Exactly. I have someone here. I got a delivery. I had to go back in there, carry her out of there.
Wow.
I was like, she trusted me to carry. I mean, imagine if I would have dropped her. What trust? And I was, what a great person. Anyway, it was that kind of technology that allowed her to be able to actually walk. It was like these electronic stimulus were causing a reaction in her legs. And it wasn't like graceful, but she was walking.
Dude. Yeah.
And so for somebody that's relegated to a chair for the rest of their lives, this is hope. And I also want to say this, that it's a little bit scary. Not a little, it's a lot scary to me, because I love your example of being able to detect lies, but as with all good technology, it couldn't be used for good, or it could be used for evil. And
absolutely.
I see the ramifications on both sides of this.
You're absolutely right. A lot to say there. First of all, I have the links to 2 articles, one in Yahoo Business News concerning this, that this is what I'm speaking to, is these articles, Yahoo Business News. The other is called teslarati.com. Have that as well. So those are in the links in the show notes, and you're going to get them right in your email box if you sign up to our list at over50startingover.com. So that's the easy way to get all this valuable information. The other thing I wanted to say, Merle, is you made me think when you said about your friend being able to walk, hey, not so gracefully, but if you were bound in a wheelchair, that made me think of this week, the story about the guy that got the face transplant and 2 hand transplants. Did you see that?
I haven't heard about that. No.
Oh, boy. Well. Oh, yeah. It's been all over the news. Yeah. Wow. He got in a car accident, if I recall.
Yeah.
And just so burnt. Oh, boy. Unbelievable. But this is one of those things where, I mean, I'm sorry this sounds so cruel or heartless, but I think, would you want to be saved? Now, if you're the person that medical science pulled your life out of the crapper there, you would, it's human nature. You'd be like, oh, thank you. Yes, I'm so glad I was saved. But I don't know. Is it the best thing? It's a valid conversation.
Yeah.
But so anyways, so this guy got a face transplant and 2 hand, because his hands were also so deformed.
Oh my gosh.
2 hand transplants, successful.
I didn't know that was possible.
Now, like the girl with not walking so well, it's not like this guy's a real looker, let me tell you, but I'll bet you there's the happiest day of his life, just like it was for your friend. I think her name is Ashley.
No kidding. Wow. I mean, when you start to look at the technology and that's out there and what we're able to do now, it really is amazing. And I really go to this, that old saying, whatever the mind can conceive, it can achieve. And I really believe that a lot of the things that we've already seen in science fiction movies, we've already seen them come to pass when we had no idea how that could work. But Star Trek from the 60s, so many of those technologies that they had, we have today.
And the communicator We went by the communicator 2 decades ago, the flip phone.
We really did. And that was, I remember when that flip phone came out, I remember I wanted one so bad, but I couldn't afford one.
Yeah.
I never did get to have a flip phone like Star Trek. So I'm a little bummed about that. But anyway, it's the transporter machine. We talked about this. Yeah. I really believe that we're going to figure that out. Yes, we're going to figure out how to travel. And I mean, we're sending ships out past our solar system now. Yes. How is that, Barry? Now that I mentioned solar system, I'm just gonna throw something out here. Remember we talked about the space
race?
No, our militarized space program.
Yes.
What was it called
Space
again?
Space
Force. I'm really concerned about the future of Space Force.
It's one of my notes in here that we were to talk about. Yes.
Okay. What do you got? Because, man, I just think that is so important.
I just simply brought up the we're bringing up the subject just like you. Press Secretary, if I say her name right, Jen Psaki. Psaki, okay, jokes about Space Force when asked about its future. And I have a link to that YouTube video if you would like to take a look at it. I found it absolutely disgusting. I found it to be, just rationally speaking, very unprofessional. I find her to be very unprofessional. But she took the whole as if we were talking, as if we asked her if there were aliens in Area 51. That was right. And I forget exactly what she said, but she laughed it off.
She said somebody asked her about the future of the space program. What is it called again?
Space Force.
He said, yeah. Can you give me some details on Biden's plans for Space
back
Force?
To you on that, I think.
And she goes, Space Force. Oh, so like the new plane, like that. And so whoever's in charge of that, I'll get back to them and I'll circle back to you.
It was really condescending.
And here this is part of our national defense strategy. We have a rival called China that is head and shoulders up in front of us in this whole thing.
Yes.
And from military strategy and history, if you have the high ground, you are in charge. And you can't get any more high ground than space. And they're militarizing space. They take out our satellites. They take out our way of communicating. They can take out our energy plants. All of that kind of stuff can shut down our way of existence in a heartbeat. And if we don't have any, if our leaders are space, Force, come on. I mean, that is and now if this is the art of war strategy, then this is great. So if they're using the Sun Tzu art of war strategy and they're pretending, Space Force, and meanwhile in the background they're developing secret X weapon, I say good strategy, but I don't think that's what's happening.
Oh, you just gave me a ray of hope to hang on to, though, because I have been beside myself about that because of the importance. We're talking you're talking whether we're going to be speaking Chinese in the near future
or that would be eliminated.
Completely.
The only people that are speaking Chinese are the ones that are still alive. I mean, that could happen too. So they don't seem to like us.
No, of course they don't. No, of course they don't. So no, I'm going to hang on to that ray of hope that you just said, and that
that's what I would
playing it down. It's like, they're working with 3-4 different aliens right there in their Area 51 on their own, spaceship. Hopefully that's what's going on.
We're working with Vlok right now.
We got technology from the planet Zunar, and we're going to send that up any day now.
Tell anybody.
So let's go.
I just want to say, you mentioned how unprofessional you think that she is.
I thought that was terribly unprofessional.
I also find the tone of these press conferences to be diabolically opposite of what we've seen over the last 4 years. But did you hear that they were requesting to get their questions ahead of the press briefings from now on?
What? No.
Yeah. The Biden administration requested that the press actually send in their questions ahead of time instead of the way that they've been doing it since forever.
Yes, well, because that's free speech. You know, you go and throw out a monkey wrench in there and see what kind of spontaneous. Oh my God, free speech is so under attack, and every single day now it's getting worse. We're seeing evidence of it just getting so much worse. I wanted to bring out
in many different ways too, like the
on every front possible.
Yes,
and one of the things I wanted to say, back to the BS detector chip that we need planted in our head. How about Black Lives Matter being submitted for the Nobel Peace Prize for racial injustice, fighting against racial injustice?
Yeah, I mean, the Nobel Peace Prize is a joke now.
It's a total joke. That started with Obama getting nominated for no reason whatsoever other than being black.
Well, Stacey Abrams has been nominated as well. Mm-hmm. And so she's in there. What has she done? They're saying least, right. It's because she fought against voter suppression. And remember when she was running for governor, she said she lost because of voter suppression. So I think that has something to do with it. And of course, Trump's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, but he actually leveraged all of these peace agreements in the Middle East, where no one else has ever been able to do that ever. So that's an interesting thing to take a look at as it goes on. But I hope that these guys come out of this with a molecule of credibility, because, you know, being nominated is one thing, but it's whoever gets it. That's what's really important. Yes. So we'll see what happens. I think when you take a look at Black Lives Matter and the amount of damage that they've done over the past year, it's one of the groups responsible for a record amount of destruction over the last year in the tune of billions and billions of dollars. Right. So to earn a Nobel Peace Prize, it would almost be that peace has been redefined in the 1984 manner. Remember, I was telling you about the Ministry of Love, where you would get tortured. That, you know, Nobel Peace Prize. How many people did you? Never mind. I mean, it's just it's a terrible thing to think about.
I agree with you. I think that there is a whole lot of redefining of words, terms, and just like trying to redefine historical content.
Well, I totally agree. And, you know, I was talking to Hallie about this, my daughter, over the past week, about how all of these terms have been redefined, or that we've applied terms. And these terms are simply there to shut down opposition, not for any other reason, like the term hate speech. We saw it last week with the whole thing that happened with the GameStop thing and Reddit. And
I wanted to talk about that.
Oh, well, let me give it to you then.
Go ahead. No, you can continue. Okay. Because you're right on the right track.
The whole thing that happened is, the events that happen around GameStop are a little complicated.
Not really.
Well, when you take a look at, it was almost spy versus spy kind of thing happening there, because it was like the bad guys were suddenly the good guys, and the good guys were the bad guys. And then it was kind of hard to figure out who the good guys and the bad guys are. And then censorship actually happened. And it was for the purpose of shutting down their competitors. It wasn't actually, it was under the guise of hate speech that they shut down the Reddit from communicating.
Yes.
So this is an online social media kind of thing on Reddit. And these guys got shut down by the rich billionaire hedge funders.
Under the guise of hate speech. That is the most amazing stretch that I've heard in quite a while. And I've heard some serious stuff lately.
These guys were losing literally billions of dollars every second.
Yeah. Now let's just explain
they're going down.
As simple as in simple terms. So you got hedge fund people that are shorting the stock, meaning they're betting that GameStop is going to lose. Now GameStop is like the what was the video store? Blockbuster. It's like
sort of like Blockbuster.
Yeah,
right.
They
just
games in a brick and mortar stores, and they're all digital today. So of course it's going out of business. It's a slow but sure demise down the toilet. So they're shorting it and then telling other people, they're putting out like, you could sign up to Motley Fool or get all your other news out there. So and this is where I might screw it up. So do they go out and say, oh, everybody, you gotta buy GameStop right now? Or no, they sell. No, it's in trouble. You got to sell. So it drives it down. They're shorting it. They're
right. And then they actually are buying it.
On Reddit. So here's the thing. Here's the nefarious thing is these, to the point, is that these hedge fund guys always do this behind the scenes, behind closed doors, and put out propaganda in order to make their billions of dollars. Whereas the Reddit group of average everyday people in a completely transparent environment on Reddit, that's the important thing, said, this is what they're doing. Let's all buy it up, make a ton of money, and screw these guys that are always screwing us. And that's exactly what happens. So then, to your point, what eventually happens is they put the squeeze, I'd say the hedge fund people, Wall Street puts the squeeze on Reddit and shuts down the Wall Street Bets. That's the Reddit group, Wall Street Bets, temporarily shuts down their platform in the guise of hate speech.
Not that they were doing anything illegal in business by doing what they did with those stocks. It was on a technicality that they figured out called hate speech, which conveniently you don't have to define. And that's
it doesn't
the thing.
Stop there.
That's the thing with the term hate speech is hate speech can be anything you deem to be hate speech. So everyone's guilty. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah. So it doesn't stop there at all. So Robinhood is the app that apparently most people do their trading on, average everyday Joes. And they are not. And so they also shut down trading on that under pressure from big tech. From Wall Street.
Big tech. There it is.
So Robinhood's now facing 30 different civil lawsuits for trade restrictions.
This is crazy.
This is crazy.
And this is the thing. You're hearing these rich hedge fund guys suddenly calling for regulation around this whole thing. And these are the guys that are allergic to regulation.
Absolutely.
So, it's a big red flag when these guys are the guys that are asking for regulation. And you got that happening at the same time. Did you hear about the Bank of America thing?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And I know we're running low on time.
Yeah, because I got a really great follow-up story at the end I got to do.
Okay.
It's good. You're going to love it.
Let me just say this. So as of yesterday, we found out that Bank of America has turned over information to the FBI with anybody that had any banking transactions in Washington, D.C. on the 5th or the 6th, all around Washington, D.C., hotels, foods, and also the states of Virginia, Maryland, and I think West Virginia as well. If you stayed in any of those states in those times, Bank of America turned over your banking information to the FBI. Now, and they're actually saying that this was in compliance with the law, but there's no law that actually compels them to turn over information about your personal banking records. So we're going to see right now what's actually going to happen. And I'll just say this regarding January 6th, it's very odd that we are not seeing any type of information about the research around what happened with those Capitol Police. Who got injured? Who was the person that shot Babbitt, the woman that was killed? We don't know that person's name. We're hearing rumors that person's not going to be charged for shooting that person point blank in the neck. We are not hearing any details whatsoever about the people that have been arrested, except for very little. We're not hearing about the social media sites that those people are looking at. And we've got an impeachment that's coming up next week. So it's very, very odd what's going on today.
And you know what we don't even have time to talk about it or hardly mention is, I thought you were going to go there, Nancy Pelosi and her husband buying up $1 million worth of Tesla stock. Was that it ended December, something like that, knowing that they're going to push legislation to incentivize the electric car industry.
This is why these people all have mansions, multiple mansions.
All of that.
insider trading information.
And it's right. And it loops all back in with GameStop and all these situations. We're talking about big tech helping out the 1%. And, you know, and it never ends, which I don't know if we can go on. I could go on forever about all this.
Let me just finish and say this. What we're seeing is an elite class that has locked the rest of the public out.
Yes.
And so it's us and them. They're the elites. They're above the law. They're living in a bubble that we're not living in, and they're actually governing us as well. And this brings us back to the whole taxation without representation type of thing that we fought a whole revolutionary war over. We're seeing it right now. It is what it is, and we just have to call it what it is. So
it's been there for decades. It's just been growing astronomically, and now it's being exposed.
And it's being exposed at a rate and with an attitude of, who cares? Here it is. You know,
I don't know about that.
Kind of seems like it after last week. It kind of, with
I know what you're saying.
It kind of seems like, here's what we do. And you know what? We're going to make some regulations so that we can keep on doing it.
And I watched a video last night, the Rubin Report, I think it is.
I like Dave Rubin.
Okay, yeah. And Glenn Beck was on there. And
haven't seen him in a while.
I had not heard of him in a long time, to tell you the truth, but he had a very positive take on the kind of stuff we're talking about right now. And they were talking about the GameStop situation. And he said, you know, first of all, and I've heard this from other people of late too, and it's very true, is we always talk about all the negative news and the world coming to an end, but every generation has always done that as they get older. And the truth of the matter is that we're living in a time of astronomically less poverty, people being pulled out of poverty by the hour. At rates never before seen in humankind. So there is that. Now, that's not to say that we got to be very vigilant about possibly being on the precipice of destruction. Look, for one of these days, I want to do the research and talk about, for whatever reason, Jordan Peterson refers to it as the Pareto principle, but about how the top 1% is just pulling all the wealth out of our society at an increasing, alarming rate at all times. But I need to do more research on that before we can really talk about it.
I was gonna say, I read that book, The Tale of Two Cities, back in college, and it starts out, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And that's the opening line of the book, and it's right at the precipice of the French Revolution. And so it's an interesting way to start the book, because it's such a dichotomy in life. Exactly what you were just explaining. It is the best of times and the worst of times at the same time. How could that be? But you're exactly right. When you take a look at the technology that has improved our way of life above and beyond anything we've ever experienced in human life, just looking at our mortality rate in general here in this country, it's doubled since our country started. This is amazing. We live longer, we're healthier, we eat better, we get to do more things, we have a much higher quality of life in every way. And yet, on the flip side, we have all these other things that are out there that are really in biblical proportions. So it is really quite a time to be alive here on planet Earth.
Yeah, it truly is. And to Glenn Beck's point, is what he was saying is, you know, people of our age, we start to see things become different. And so we think it's the end of the world and that kind of thing. And he says, you don't understand. You just saw what happened with these millennials with Reddit, and how they just took down the establishment right there. He goes, this is going to continue. He goes, this is a positive thing. This is a great thing. It's going to, you know, hopefully tear down that 1% elite and all of the things that have been building up to this precipice. I am so sick and tired of, between taxes and the healthcare industry, of them bleeding every American for every penny that they can with the sliding scale of what you can and can't afford, unless you can hit an elite status where you get to be able to hide your funds offshores and do different kinds of investments to shelters. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. And we live in a world that pushes those people, those elites that are making all those monies to make those kind of moves, because otherwise we're going to try to tax you 95% of what you bring in. So it's a tough, I can see why it's happening. That's all I got to say is I can see why it's happening. And, you know, we're just going to have to deal with it. I don't think I have any good things to say about that. I can just see why it's happening.
I hear you. Well, let's follow this up with, and we could take several minutes to talk about this. You're going to love this story. It's a lighter side of things, but it ties in with everything that we're talking about as well. And I'm going to share this. Billionaire launches drug company to offer low-cost version of high-cost drugs. Do you see this, Merle?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, this came out on January 28th, and it's Mark Cuban, our favorite billionaire. He launched listen to this. I love this because it's speaking against the 1% elites and in the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical industry that is crippling us. He launched a generic drug company called the Mark Cuban Cost Plus Drug Company. And it's dedicated to producing low-cost drugs of the high-cost generic drugs that bleed us dry, and pledges to, quote, provide radical transparency in how we price our drugs. And to make it short, we add a flat 15% margin to our wholesale prices. That's it, across the board, completely transparent. This makes sure that we remain viable and profitable, but no hidden costs, no middlemen, no rebates, only available to insurance company. No rebates that are only available to insurance company. Everybody gets the same low price on every drug we make. What do you think of that, Merle?
I'm amazed. I love the concept, and I think I hope that he can pull it off, because I do know that in the pharmaceutical industry, the regulations that are out there with the FDA,
yes,
and also some of these trade agreements that are happening out there right now prevent good intentions from actually coming to fruition. So I hope that somebody like Mark Cuban can maneuver those waters, because it's terrible what we're seeing. We just saw where insulin prices, Joe Biden signed an executive order. Insulin prices have gone sky high, and these people can't afford the shots anymore. That the medication, that's death to those people.
Yes.
In one way or another, either your health or your finances. And if your finances are gone, you're living in a pretty bad situation. That's a form of death too. So it's a tough situation that we're seeing. Families are in such a hard time. And these drugs, I suspect many of them are being produced for pennies, and they're being, you're paying $100 for a pill. But here's another thing to think about with the FDA is, before you can put any drugs out into the market, you have to jump through their FDA hoops.
Yes.
And I'm hearing that it costs, to bring one drug to the market, costs about $1 billion after you've gone through all the testing. And you've got to be able to get your return on investment. But if you're Mark Cuban, maybe that's where the rub is here.
No. This is a good thing. You made a valid point. So as I recall, this is all about patents. Okay. So when you bring a new drug to market, you get to patent it for, if I recall, 7 years. You have sole rights to it. So that's where you're making your billions back. Okay, you make your money back. So Mark Cuban is only dealing in the generic drug industry. So that's
interesting.
Telling me past patent stuff.
You're right.
What that's also telling me is that one company goes out there and ruins it for everybody else. This is capitalism, okay? So
at its finest.
It's exactly right. So the generic drug companies, you are right. It costs $1 billion or whatever to go through the R&D to bring a new drug to market. They deserve to make their money. Okay. It's still a little crazy, but they do get to make their money. It is after it becomes public domain is where everybody's still getting screwed. And this is what's beautiful here. It's not just that, but we've been talking about the 1% bleeding all the money out of all of the common everyday people. We've been talking about it with GameStop, with with everything. And this is an example. Like, remember a few weeks ago, we also talked about Jeff Bezos' ex-wife giving back billions to different charities. She got a divorce, and she's a best-selling author in her own right, but she's got like $64 billion or whatever that she is pledging to donate most of it to viable causes.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Maybe this is the hope that we can have with altruistic 1%ers setting an example and maybe a degree of morality to what they do with this extreme wealth. How much can one person do with billions of dollars in the first place?
I hope that you're right. I mean, it seems very hopeful what you're saying. And there's also a flip side. There's always a flip side, right? I mean, when we have billionaires that are in control of this market, we don't want that either. We don't want just one or two people like Bill Gates out there who seems to be in charge of every vaccination out there. We want to make sure that it's not just like an oligarchical kind of thing that's happening here. But I love the sentiment, and I hope that it works out really well. We definitely need to do something about this terrible, terrible problem that's out there. And I just thank God, man, I'm not on any pharmaceuticals. I don't need to be on any pharmaceuticals, and I want to keep it that way for the rest of my life. I never want to have to be on these because, man, it seems like once you open that door, it's hard to come back. I don't know if there is any coming back.
Yeah, I'm on blood pressure medication too right now, and it's I'd rather not be, but I have felt the difference. And
sometimes
I hope it's a temporary thing.
Me too.
Yeah. So like I was so excited at the very beginning, bringing this full circle. I was so excited about the beginning. The creatine has been helping me with my workouts, which
I'm excited about that too.
Going to help bring my blood pressure down.
Yeah. And also you're going to have better workouts. The whole thing is like it's a domino effect of good. Yeah. It sounds like it too. So, let's keep track of that, because I think that's good for all of us. If we have something we can rely on.
Yeah. Okay. So let's wrap this up. I just want to say, guys, we got a lot of links to share, things that we just skipped over very quickly. Hopefully we hit the main points. So you can get them again if you sign up for over50startingover.com. But also just pull us up on your podcast app of choice on your smartphone and pull up Over 50 Starting Over. Listen to us in your spare time on demand. That's the way to do it. All right, Merle.
Yeah.
Talk to you next week, brother.
Yeah.
Love you all.
You too.